Wow, wow, that's a lot of digest. CJ, do you have any other bullish scenarios coming up? I mean, or predictions, pension funds, I don't know, nation state Bitcoin adoption, Bitcoin strategy reserve, some kind of sudden surprising movements or actions?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody right now at this point, just based on the fact that the federal government of the United States is going to start a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then with Senator Loomis's bill, they're going to actually actively accumulate Bitcoin. And for your listeners, for those who don't know, I had the honor to be nominated to potentially sit on RFK's Council of Economic
Wow,
Advisors.
congratulations.
So thank you very much. So please, if you're listening, take a second and go vote for me. I'm currently above Peter Schiff, our Bitcoin favorite. So I'm ranked number 9. I believe 12 people get onto the council. So if you can
Wow.
go on there and vote for me and leave a comment, it would be much appreciated. And what I will do is I will be a voice for Bitcoin, not only the strategic Bitcoin reserve, but also we need a Bitcoin recapitalization fund because the strategic Bitcoin reserve comes with handcuffs. The government will accumulate the Bitcoin. You can't touch it for 20 years. When you want to touch it, you can only touch 10% of it. And when you sell it, the proceeds must go to pay down the national debt.
Right.
Those are all good things that I agree with. But we also need a certain portion of the Bitcoin that we're stacking to not go into the strategic Bitcoin fund where it has handcuffs and to go into the Bitcoin recapitalization fund where we can then integrate Bitcoin as engineered money into our monetary and fiscal and economic policies. And we can do things like recapitalize Social Security, recapitalize veteran benefits, and take all of these programs that are running on and backed by US treasuries at a negative real rate of return, replace those treasuries with hybrid treasuries combined with Bitcoin that produce a positive real rate of return so that we can bring, in Social Security's case, you can watch the video in my highlights on my X, but we could literally recapitalize Social Security. And my long-term goal would be, yes, we want to recapitalize it, but we want to recapitalize it so we can close it down. We don't want to break promises to people that we made promises to. So let's recapitalize it, come through on those promises, but then end the program because we are a capitalist marketplace, not a socialist marketplace. So we don't need social programs like Social Security. People can decide and invest for themselves, and that's going to end up to being a better, more a stronger economic benefit in the long run. So we can use the Bitcoin recapitalization fund to do things like that, like fix Social Security and other social programs that are financed with negative yielding debt and replace that negative yielding debt with positive yielding Bitcoin bonds. And that will be what I advocate for if I make it onto the RFK's Council of Economic Advisors. But those are the types of things that I think people aren't looking at. So the first thing is the downstream effect. The Keynesians love to talk about trickle down economics, but Bitcoin is like really showing you the power of trickle down because we have the federal government, the state governments, the cities, the municipalities, the small and medium sized businesses, and then the personal level who are all going to get involved. And if that's not a big enough bullish catalyst for you, then I just don't understand what could ever be even more bullish than that. Because there is nothing more bullish than the monetization of a new asset class. And that's what we're watching. We're watching the people who laughed at us and said it was magic internet money now come back to the table and say, hey, we were wrong. Like Larry Fink, I was wrong. They were right. I sat down, I learned about it, I changed my mind, and now I recommend it to my clients.
Yeah.
So for someone to do that, it doesn't get more bullish than this. I don't understand how there could be a more bullish catalyst. This reminds me a lot about the BlackRock ETF. The BlackRock ETF was announced, and people had months to front run the largest asset manager in the world. You had literally had months to buy Bitcoin at $25,000, and now less than a year later, it's over 400%. It's next to $100,000, and you had all this time to accumulate, and you didn't. But now those same people who told you to accumulate because the largest asset manager in the world is now going to recommend Bitcoin to their clients, which they are now officially doing. Those same people are now telling you, you have a couple months left to front run the governments, the United States government, the Russian government, the rest of the nations, the state governments, the city governments, the municipal governments, the small and medium-sized businesses. You can front run them right now because that is 100% what's happening. And it's just, it's not a light switch. It's not on and off. It's going to take a couple of months, but that's good. We want the extra time because what you can do right now, any Bitcoin price under $100,000, that is the discount. This is the cheapest you're going to get it. At $200,000, it's cheap. At $300,000, it's cheap. You know when it's not cheap anymore? Around $13 million. If it goes to $13 million, okay, you can back off a little bit. But until then, you're buying cheap Bitcoin. Until then, we are in the lowest risk, highest urgency time frame I've ever seen in Bitcoin. And if that doesn't make you bullish, then nothing ever will, because this is the most bullish catalyst we've ever seen in this marketplace.